Thanks, Mr. Dawes. He's a cool one, all right. Marking up another one like whittling on a stick.
How many does that make?
Well, there was 6 when he got to town. We're lucky we haven't had any more since.
Hasn't been here very long, has he?
Oh, a couple of weeks. Glad to hear he's moving out.
Moving on.
Yeah, over to Porter from what I hear.
Porter. That's funny.
Why?
I'm heading there myself.
Well, now, maybe the two of you could ride along together.
Oh, no, thanks. I guess I ought to tip off the sheriff at Porter if I get there before the kid. He's sure gonna have his hands full.
Well, they don't have a sheriff at Porter. They're using a ranger for their law. A fellow by the name of, Gilman.
Now, sheriff or ranger. Won't make any difference.
For the past 2 months, Ranger Hobie Gilman had been assigned to the town of Porter as a temporary replacement for the recently deceased sheriff. Arrangements for the election of his successor were delayed by the fact that all potential candidates declined the office. It appeared that Gilman's stay in the small town might be prolonged indefinitely.
Morning, Aaron.
Hobie?
Ralph said you want to see me.
Yeah, I would have come over myself, but I thought you might like to hear it firsthand. He's in the back taking a bath.
Well, who are you talking about?
Drummond just arrived in town. Come on, I'll introduce you. Mr. Bryant, this is Ranger Gilman.
Oh, howdy.
Mr. Bryant?
Oh, just call me Ed, Ranger. I'm a first namer from way back.
Sure. I understand you just came to Porter.
Yeah, not more than an hour ago. From Stevens Creek. Jed's still there, but everybody says he'll be heading here next.
Jed?
Jed Dawes.
Oh?
Doesn't the name strike you?
No, should it?
Maybe you know him by his other handle, the Pueblo Kid.
Oh, wow, sounds like he's a gunslinger.
One of the fastest.
According to Ed here, there's another killing over at the creek.
That makes 7 we know of.
Well, does anybody know why he's coming to Porter?
More than likely, it won't be a social visit.
You see, Jed was born here. This is where he grew up. But when he left town, well, he didn't leave many friends behind.
Which brings up another point.
What's that?
Did he leave any enemies? Mr. Bryant.
Well, I'll be swoggled. They turned her loose.
Who's that?
Jessie Watkins. Well, the girl that chopped up her uncle and her aunt back in Bangor, Maine. Well, it sure looks like she chopped them up. Well, I guess the jury didn't think so, though.
What do you do, subscribe to all the newspapers in the country?
I don't subscribe to them. It's all part of being in the trade. You send them one of your sheets, they got to send one of theirs back. And besides, it saves me a lot of editorial writing.
Oh, it does, huh?
Mm-hmm. Sure does. Well, say the Denver paper gets all riled up about something like well, the school isn't big enough to hold all the kids. Well, sooner or later, the same thing will happen here. And all I do is dig out an old copy of the Denver paper and make a couple of changes, and I got my editorial all ready to set up and type.
I see what you mean.
Jed Dawes, huh?
Ma'am?
Well, that's what you came to see me about, wasn't it? I figured you'd want to get yourself primed before he turned up.
Well, you figured right, Henrietta.
Well, I'll tell you what I can. He was born in a farm just south of town. You know that old shack next to Charlie Bradley's spread?
Yeah, I think I've seen it.
Yeah, sure. Well, the farm never did amount to much. And neither did his folks. His mother ran off when he was 5 or 6, and his father gave him free rein, just turned him loose. And then when he was about 16 or 17, that was 4 or 5 years ago, well, old man Dawes died, and Jed just took off. Never even bothered to sell the farm, just disappeared.
Did he get into any trouble when he was living here?
Nothing serious enough to rate a one-line hit.
Have you any idea why he might be coming back now?
Well, maybe he just wants to stir up the place, cause a little trouble.
Well, that'd be nice.
And there could be another explanation.
What's that?
Lucy Franklin.
The little girl that works in the general store?
Oh, they had a bad case of puppy love if I ever saw one. Oh, speaking of that, how are you and Penny Adams getting along? Hmm?
No. Well, we're just fine. Well, listen, thanks very much, Henrietta, and I'll see you around.
Oh, Hobie, that press of mine can turn out wedding invitations, too.
Stop it, Dave, stop it.
You saving yourself for Jed Dawes.
Will you let me go?
Why should I? I'm enjoying it.
Well, I'm not.
Could if you let yourself.
Get out of here, Dave. Get out of here this minute. Good morning, Mr. Gilman.
Good morning, Miss Franklin.
Something I can do for you?
Well, I'm in no hurry if you're busy.
Oh, that's all right. Dave was just leaving.
Say, tell me something, Ranger. You think you can outshoot Jed Dawes?
Well, I wouldn't know.
I'll tell you something. I think I can.
Is that right?
I've whipped him before. Half a dozen times when we were kids. Won't be any different with a gun.
Well, there's one difference. You could end up dead.
Yeah? Or I might end up a bigger man than the Pueblo kid ever was. That'd make this town sit up and take notice, wouldn't it? So long, Lucy. See you later.
Miss Franklin, I understand that young Dawes is a friend of yours.
Well, we used to know each other.
Has he written to you since he left Porter?
He's written a couple of letters. Why?
Well, I just wondered if he had told you why he was coming back here.
Oh, he hasn't written in several months.
Oh, I see. Well, if he looks you up after he gets to town, would you tell him I'd like to see him?
Certainly.
Thank you.
Mr. Gilman, maybe it isn't Jed's fault that he turned out this way. Maybe he had to shoot.
7 times?
Jed Dawes. It's him, all right.
What'll it be, Jed?
Oh, you remember me, huh?
Sure.
Yeah, I remember you, too. I remember how you used to throw me out of here.
Yeah, but you were too young to hang around saloons.
Am I old enough now?
Yeah, you're old enough.
Put the bottle right over here. I don't like people staring at me, mister.
I wasn't staring.
Are you calling me a liar?
No, of course not.
I think you better move on. Hey, did you hear what I said? Move.
Sure. Sure. Just going anyway.
Oh, Jed. Now, what's the matter? Don't you remember your old friend?
We aren't friends, Dave. We never were.
Maybe we ought to be now. Seeing as how we have so much in common.
You like what?
Lucy Franklin.
You mind if I move in?
What's your name, Ranger?
Opie Gilman.
I guess you know who I am.
Yeah, some kid used to live around here. Name's Dawes, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Name's Dawes. You the law importer now?
For the time being.
You drink?
No, thank you.
What's the matter? You got some objection to drinking with me?
As far as I know, you're not wanted for anything, so there's no reason why you can't stay in Porter. But don't figure on adding any notches to that gun. You try it, and you'll wind up a permanent resident. And if anybody thinks he's going to make himself top gun around here by taking you on, he's got another thing coming.
Wouldn't stop a fair fight, would you, Ranger?
Hey, Gilman. How many men have you killed?
None. But I enjoy killing.
Can you come to the house right away?
What's the matter? Something wrong?
It's Lucy Franklin. She's been looking all over town for you.
Well, what's wrong with her?
I don't know. It's something about Jed Dawes and Dave Phillips. Jed and Dave had a fight last night after you left the saloon. They're supposed to meet this morning out at Jed's old farm. They didn't want to do it here in town on account of you.
Have you any idea when?
At 10 o'clock. It's almost 8 now. You can do something, can't you? You can stop them.
I can try.
If you don't, he'll be killed. And it'll be my fault. If it wasn't for me, he never would have come back here.
Well, I imagine that Jed can take care of himself in a gunfight. He's been in at least 7 of them. He's always managed to come out whole.
But you don't understand, Mr. Gilman. Last night, Jed asked me to marry him. I wanted to say yes, but I knew it would be wrong. I told him I couldn't live my life out always worried. Always wondering when there'd be another gunfight. If he'd have to kill again, or if somebody'd kill him.
Well, I imagine you did the right thing.
Well, that's why Jed had to stop lying to me. That's why he told me the truth. There haven't been 7 killings, Mr. Gilman. There hasn't been 1. Jed hasn't killed anybody. Not in his whole life.
Before he went over to the hotel where Jed Dawes was staying, Ranger Gilman spent 30 minutes in the office of the Porter Enterprise.
Oh, never mind, Opie. I'll put him away.
Thank you.
I had to tell Lucy something, didn't I? I wanted her to run away with me.
And it wasn't true.
About my not killing anybody? What do you think, Ranger? You read the papers, you know I'm the Pueblo kid.
I was just reading the papers now. Porter Enterprise keeps quite a file. I was reading about a couple of your killings. See, one of them took place just outside of Topeka, and one of them in Carson City, Nevada, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm. According to the papers, the one in Topeka took place on a Tuesday, and the killing in Nevada was on a Wednesday, right?
Yeah, huh?
Of the same week? Those towns are 1,600 miles apart. Just how'd you really get all those notches, Jed?
It was, those papers you read. Just made a little mistake, that's all.
Well, all I have to do is send a couple telegrams to find out.
Oh, they just gave me credit for one of the killings that I didn't do.
Maybe they gave you credit for 7 of them.
Lucy shouldn't have told you. It's between her and me. Shouldn't have dragged you into it.
Well, what about the notches?
Yeah, there was a shooting near Pueblo. I rode in right afterwards. Guess I looked like the killer, leastwise everybody thought I was him. Started calling me the Pueblo Kid. I tried to tell them it wasn't me. They wouldn't believe me. And I started kind of liking the idea. You know, being important for a change. So I let them go on thinking it. But I learned how to be real fast and on the draw, and that kind of cinched it.
How do you mean?
I let people know who I was, and I'd show them how fast I was. From then on, it was easy. When there was a killing, somebody's bound to think it was me. I'd add another notch to my gun, and people would figure there'd been another showdown.
Well, what was the sense to all this? Why did you want people to think you were a killer? Just to get some attention?
I was nothing when I left Porter. Not even dirt. I wanted to come back something more than Jed Dawes. So nobody'd be able to kick me out of the way. But I guess I proved I was somebody, didn't I?
You may just prove it by getting yourself killed.
Dave Phillips, he'll back down. He won't go up against me.
What if he doesn't back down?
Then I'll kill him.
You think you can?
Oh, yeah. I told you I was fast.
Well, that's not what I'm getting at. You've never killed a man. You don't know what it feels like. You don't know the sickness that grabs you in the stomach when you see him lying there. Doesn't make any difference who he was or what he did. You killed him, and you'll carry it with you for the rest of your days.
What do you expect me to do? Just turn tail, get out of town, and let everybody think I'm yellow?
No. I might solve your problem here in Porter, but what about the next town you ride into?
So what about it?
Well, old Dave Phillips will be waiting for you when you get there. He'll have a different name and a different face. But it'll be the same man, and he'll want the same thing. He'll want to be known as the man that outdrew the Pueblo Kid. You don't know how lucky you've been, Chad. It's a wonder to me you haven't met up with your Dave Phillips long before this.
Now, don't you worry about Dave Phillips. I'll take care of him. I'm no coward.
You think shooting it out with him is going to be worth it? You'll wind up dead or a killer. Either way, it'll be the end of you and Lucy. I think you're worth more than that. Why don't you prove it?
What are you talking about?
Let everybody know. Not just Lucy and me. Tell them all, including Dave. Tell them the truth about the Pueblo Kid. Hmm? Just how brave are you, Jed?
Team from you. Can you help me?
I think maybe I can.
You have something on hand? I'm in kind of a hurry. I'd like to leave town this morning.
Before 10 o'clock? Well, Jed?
Yeah, that's right, Dave. Before 10 o'clock.
I can't believe you'd run out on an old friend like me.
I don't care what you believe.
Now, you wouldn't want me to think the Pueblo Kid's a coward. Well, you wouldn't want folks in your own hometown to think that. Better wait outside, Hawkins.
Nobody tells me what to do in my own livery stable.
I'm telling you.
Young whelp. You do any damage in here and it'll cost you plenty. You shoot one of my horses and you're going to pay for it.
Go ahead, Jed. Make your play.
There isn't going to be any play, Dave.
Stop stalling, Jed. Oh, no, you're not walking out of here.
I don't think you'll shoot.
Where's your gun?
What difference does it make? I'm not going to use it.
You can have one of mine.
Look, you might as well get this straight. I'm no gunfighter. I never have been.
What's the matter? You finally come up against somebody who's not scared of you.
Yeah, you can put it that way if you like.
Then how'd you get the notches on your gun?
I just put them there. I was like you are now, Dave. I wanted to be a big man. See, there isn't any Pueblo Kid. I made him up. Of course, I had a lot of help from people who wanted to believe he was real, people like you.
Now, you expect me to let you walk out of here? Take Lucy with you, go off as if nothing had happened.
I don't say you can stop us.
What happens to me after you're gone?
Oh, you're going to be a big man here in Porter. You're going to be the man that made the Pueblo Kid back down from a fight.
Unless they take it the other way around. That I came crawling to you and you gave me a way out.
Oh, don't they know you better than that, Dave? Must be some way you can convince them I turn yellow.
I don't think I'll have to. Now walk.
Dave Phillips just marched the Pueblo Kid into the saloon. He's letting Dave make a real fool out of him.
Be right back, Pete.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm going with you.
Now, let's hear it again, what you told me down at the stables. Ah, now, what's the matter? Don't you feel like repeating yourself? Doing plenty of spouting off back there. Guess he doesn't like an audience, boys. Maybe you'd feel more talkative if you had a gun. Now, you see what I'm up against? Why, the Pueblo Kid's turned gun-shy. Oh, no, I forgot. Why, there isn't any Pueblo Kid, is there, Jed? Jed here says there isn't. Isn't that right, Jed?
That's right.
Ah, what's that again, Jed? I didn't quite get it.
Said there isn't any Pueblo Kid.
Ah.
All those killings, none of them were mine. I let people pin them on me. I even claimed a couple of them myself. But I never pulled a gun on a man in my life. That's why I don't have my guns on now. Because I knew David would want to go through with the fight.
Well, now, maybe we'll still get through with it. Somebody give him a couple of guns. Better stick around, Pueblo. Where are those guns?
Here you go.
Go ahead. Take them. Guess you need some help, boys. Better strap them on.
Okay, Dave. Anything you say.
We're starting even now. Ready, Jed?
Not gonna draw on you, Dave.
Maybe drink will put a little fire in you. Make you change your mind? Down the hatch. Well, guess he's not a drinking man either. Doesn't drink. Doesn't shoot. What do you suppose he does do? Hey, wait. Hey, you boys shouldn't be laughing at Pueblo like that. You ought to be congratulating him instead.
Congratulate him? For what, Dave?
Now, he says he's getting married.
Now, who'd want to marry him?
She must be hard up. Guess we all know the bride. More or less.
Who is she, Dave?
Lucy Franklin. Down at the general store. You ever get her run off? But I say we ought to have the wedding right here in Porter.
Yeah.
See, Jed. Boys are very fond of Lucy. Now, you've been gone 4 years. It's a long time. You'd be surprised how popular she's become since then.
Shut up, Dave.
What you expect her to do while you were gone, Jed? Sit home and crochet?
You pushed it far enough, Dave.
Oh. No. You're just joshing me, Jed. You wouldn't slap leather.
Why don't you try me?
Guess you took me unawares. Not that you're not fast, Jed. Now, you're real fast. About Lucy. Wasn't a word of truth in it.
Well, I guess you won't be needing these anymore, Dave. The looks of things, they wouldn't have done you much good anyway. Reads like a real nice story, Henrietta.
Yeah, except for one thing. The important thing.
What's that?
Oh, you know as well as I do, Hobie. There's no mention of who he really is. All it says is that Lucy Franklin is getting hitched to Jed Dawes, a former resident of Porter. Well, now who's going to connect him up with a Pueblo kid?
Well, I think everybody around here knows about Jed.
The folks I trade papers with don't know about him. Like as not, they'll figure it's just another small-town wedding.
Yeah.
Oh, don't you see, Hobie? If they realized that Jed and Pueblo were one and the same, well, they'd pick up my story and print it themselves. And maybe even give me credit for it.
But there never was a Pueblo kid, was there?
No, not...
Then how could Jed be somebody who never really was? I'll see you around, Henrietta.
Sunday evening's the time to saddle up your pony, because we rustle up a whole passel of shows you won't see around too much these days. Westerns. So join the posse tonight, starting at 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 Pacific, for TV Land Goes West. stay tuned for The Westerner as TV Land Goes West continues.